All right, let's talk about a story that will seriously mess with your head. Today, we are cracking open the high-tech, high-stakes world of Sebalik Dinara. This isn't just a story about computers, it's a deep dive into family secrets, corporate conspiracies, and the very question of what it means to be human. So, let's get into it.
So, meet Farisha. She's a brilliant hacker, one of the best. And she gets an offer that's impossible to refuse, a job that pays millions. But what she's about to find out is that the real puzzle isn't in the code. It's buried in a past she has no idea even exists.
Okay, so let's set the scene. We've got our genius protagonist, Farisha, who's at the absolute top of her game. But she's about to get an offer that sounds way, way too good to be true. And you know what they say about those?
Now, to understand what's going on, you gotta know the key players. Of course, there's Farisha, our hacker. Then you have Akram, this super smooth, mysterious guy who recruits her. He works for Dr. Maxi, who's running this whole top-secret project. And at the very center of this web is Carl, the company's brilliant but dying founder. Remember these names, because trust me, they're all tangled together in some pretty shocking ways.
And here it is, the offer. 1.5 million ringgit for one job. I mean, that's an insane amount of money, right? It immediately makes you wonder what kind of problem is so big, so critical, that someone is willing to pay that much to make it go away.
So, what on earth does $1.5 million ringgit job actually involve? Well, we're about to go inside the Dinara project to find out what Farisha's mission really is. And spoiler alert, this is way more than just fixing a few lines of code. The heart of the whole operation is a system called Dinara. Now, don't think of this as just a computer program. It's more like a digital god, a massive, complex ecosystem that holds almost everything. It's the life's work of Carl, the founder. It's brilliant, it's powerful, and, as Farisha is about to learn, it's dangerously fragile. So her mission on paper seems pretty straightforward. 4 steps. Get into the system, find this hidden virus that nobody else can even detect, kill it, and then patch up the holes so it can't happen again. Sounds like a standard, if very difficult, hacking job. Or, so she thinks.
And this is why it's so urgent. This thing isn't just some malware. The book literally calls it a time bomb. If this thing goes off, it won't just crash the system. It could wreck the lives of thousands of people whose information and security depend on Dinara. The clock is absolutely ticking.
But as Farisha gets to work, she starts noticing cracks. Not just in the computer system, but in the stories she's been told. The real threat isn't just digital, it's personal, and it's been hiding in plain sight her entire life.
You see, while she's trying to debug the system, Farisha starts to realize that the biggest glitch isn't in the machine at all. It's inside her. What in the world is happening to her?
And this is where things get really weird. It starts with these blinding headaches and blackouts. Then she gets a CT scan, and it finds something impossible, a microchip, inside her body. Then a voice starts whispering in her head, and she recognizes it as Carl, the guy who's supposed to be in a coma. Meanwhile, her best friend Sheeta digs up the name of a researcher, Medina, who's been completely erased from the company's history. And then, the final blow. Her family tells her she was adopted. Her whole life has been a lie. Okay, here we go. This is the part where all those scattered, confusing pieces, the job, the headaches, the secrets, they all come crashing together. Because the truth behind Dinara, well, it has nothing to do with technology. It's all about family.
You have to see this timeline because it explains everything. So, 26 years ago, Carl experimented on his own baby daughter, Farisha, implanting her with chips to make her a genius. His partner, Marilyn, who went by the name Medina, was a scientific genius too. In fact, Carl realized she was even smarter than him, so he betrayed her, sabotaged her work and her mind, and basically drove her insane. Dr. Maxi and Akram, horrified by what he'd done, rescued the baby Farisha and gave her to a new family to protect her. And this whole job, this whole elaborate setup, it was all a plan by the dying Carl to lure his greatest creation, Farisha, back to save his other creation, Dinara.
And if you thought that was wild, get this. It turns out that a lot of the people working at SoftLab, including Akram, the guy who hired her, aren't entirely human. They're cyborgs, advanced ones, also created by Carl. The man was obsessed with building a better human, even if he had to destroy his own humanity to do it.
So at the end of the day, this is what it all comes down to. Farisha is caught in the middle of a war between her biological parents that started before she could even walk. You've got her father, Carl, who sees her as a tool to save his legacy. And then you have her mother, Marilyn, who planted the virus in the first place, partly for revenge, but also as a desperate cry for help,
hoping to get her daughter's attention.
With all the cards on the table, we're heading into the novel's chilling final act. Carl's body might be giving up, but his mind, well, his mind has one last terrifying trick to play.
So Farisha is finally taken to see her father on his deathbed. But there's no big emotional scene, no apologies, just silence. And then at exactly 7 p.m., Carl dies. It feels like the story's over, but it's not even close.
Remember Sheeta, Farisha's best friend? Well, it turns out SoftLab had used her as a kind of backup channel to communicate with Carl's consciousness. After Carl's body is gone, something about Sheeta is off. Her whole personality just vanishes. She starts talking like Carl, using his words, his strange philosophical way of speaking. And the team comes to this absolutely horrifying conclusion. He didn't just talk through her, he might have actually downloaded himself into her.
And then you get the final, bone-chilling line of the story. Sheeta, or whatever is now wearing her face, turns to everyone and says with Carl's own arrogant conviction, "Let's go back to SoftLab and save Dinara." It's not Sheeta, it's Carl. He's found a loophole, a way to cheat death. He's become a ghost in a new machine. Which leaves us with this massive, unsettling question that the whole story builds towards. If a human mind is really just data that can be copied and pasted, can a person ever truly die? If you can live on in someone else or inside a computer, are you gone? It's a question that blurs the line between life, death, and technology, and it'll stick with you long after you finish the story.